Let me tell you something. Life isn't about waiting for someone to realize your worth. It's about realizing it yourself first. The truth is there will come a time when people will walk away from you. They might lose you because of their own choices, their ignorance, or because they failed to see the light you bring to their life. And I know that hurts. It shakes you to your core. But here's the magic. You are not the one who lost. They are. See, when someone loses you, they don't lose just a person. They lose your love, your loyalty, your energy. They lose someone who could stand by them when the storm hit. They lose a source of warmth, positivity, and power that can't be replicated. That's why it stings so much for them later, because the world is filled with noise, but so few people bring genuine peace, and you are one of those rare souls. Now, I want you to hear me when I say this. You are not replaceable. Yes, the mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will whisper lies that they moved on, that they are happy without you, that you're forgotten. But do you know why the mind does that? Because it is afraid of letting go of the illusion that your worth is tied to someone else's validation. But when you step back, when you rise above it, you'll see the truth. The peace you carried was your gift. They will search for you in others. They will chase the same comfort, the same connection, but guess what? They won't find it. Why? Because you are one of one. The laughter you brought, the trust you gave, the moments you shared, those are irreplaceable. They'll realize it late, but by then you will have already leveled up. You will have grown, healed, and become stronger. Because the reality is losing you doesn't just mean they lost a person, it means they lost the one chance they had at something real. So don't sit in your room crying over someone who failed to see your worth. Don't replay the memories trying to understand why. Instead, stand up tall and realize the power you hold. The gift of you is a privilege, not something anyone can take for granted. When you shift your focus back to yourself, when you start pouring into your own growth, your peace, and your happiness, that's when you become untouchable. And let me tell you something about peace. You don't chase it, you become it, you radiate it. When you carry peace, you inspire others, you light up rooms, you make people remember you long after you're gone. Because peace isn't just what you feel, it's what you leave behind. And when they lose you, they lose that gift. So today, let this be a wake-up call for you. Stop questioning yourself. Stop blaming yourself. Instead, say to yourself, I am the gift. I am the peace. And the right people will never let me go, because those who are meant for you will see your value and they will protect it. The rest, let them go. Let them learn the hard way. And when they look back and regret it, don't you dare look back with them. Keep moving forward. Keep rising higher, because your peace deserves a throne, not a battlefield. Let them realize they lost the best thing that ever happened to them. And you go and become the version of yourself they'll never get the chance to meet. That's how you win. That's how you find your own peace. And that, my friends, is how you take your power back. Let me tell you something. Your worth is not up for debate. It's not measured by how someone else sees you, how they treat you, or whether they choose to stay in your life. Your worth is defined by you, by how you show up for yourself, by how you believe in who you are and what you bring to this world. Too many times we give away our power. We let someone else's actions or lack of action make us question our value. Maybe they walked away, maybe they didn't appreciate you, or maybe they thought they could replace you. And when that happens, the mind starts playing games. You start asking, what's wrong with me? Why wasn't I good enough? But here's the truth. It was never about you. It was about their inability to see your worth. See, people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. If they don't know how to value something rare, something special, that's their shortcoming, not yours. When someone loses you, it doesn't mean you weren't valuable. It means they weren't ready for what you had to offer. They weren't ready for the love, loyalty, and peace you brought into their life. Now listen carefully. Never shrink yourself trying to fit into someone else's version of love or acceptance. Stop tying your self-worth to their presence or absence. The fact that someone couldn't see your value doesn't mean you're not valuable. It means they didn't have the eyes to see the masterpiece in front of them. A diamond doesn't lose its value because someone doesn't know how to recognize it. It remains precious no matter who holds it. And you're that diamond. I want you to understand this deeply. Your worth is not conditional. It doesn't depend on who stays, who leaves, or who comes back. Your worth comes from the fact that you are you unapologetically you. You bring something to the world that no one else can, because there is only one you. You're not here to convince anyone of your value. You're here to embody it. You're here to stand tall and let your energy, your peace, and your light speak for itself. When you start to believe in yourself, when you start to recognize that you are enough just as you are, you become unstoppable. No rejection, no loss, no heartbreak can take that away from you. Because the truth is, the moment you realize your worth, you stop settling for people who don't see it. You stop begging for love that was never yours to fight for. You stop letting temporary people shake your permanent confidence. So if someone loses you, let them walk away. Let them figure it out. Their actions are not a reflection of your worth, they're a reflection of their inability to value something extraordinary. And trust me, they will feel the absence of your presence. But you'll be too busy rising, thriving, and stepping into the version of yourself that they never got the chance to know. That's the ultimate power. That's when you truly win. When someone loses you, they lose far more than just a person. They lose the unseen gifts you brought to their life, the kind of gifts that can't be replaced. You see, when you show up for someone with love, loyalty, and authenticity, you become a source of energy they didn't even know they were taking for granted. You become the person who lifted them when they were down, who believed in them when they doubted themselves, who brought peace to their chaos, and who stood beside them when they felt like the world was against them. That's not something they'll ever find in just anyone. Too often, people don't realize the role you played in their lives until you're gone. It's easy for someone to take for granted the love you gave so freely, the comfort you offered without asking for anything in return, and the way you made their life brighter just by being part of it. But here's what happens when you walk away: they start to feel the void. They start to notice the silence. And in that silence, they realize just how much of their peace was tied to your presence. I think about this: there are countless people in the world, but very few will bring the kind of energy that can calm storms. Very few will show up with a love so selfless it makes someone feel safe. And you did that. You were the steady ground, the safe haven, the shoulder to lean on, and the voice that reassured them when doubt crept in. You gave more than they probably even deserved, and they may not have understood it at the time. But now they're sitting in the emptiness of what they let slip through their fingers. When someone loses you, they lose someone who knew their flaws and accepted them anyway. They lose the person who saw their potential when they couldn't see it themselves. They lose the laughter you brought, the trust you built, and the moments that can't be replicated no matter how hard they try. You see, love isn't just about grand gestures. It's in the little things: your patience, your understanding, the way you remembered what mattered to them, the way you supported them when no one else did. That kind of presence leaves a mark on someone's soul. And when it's gone, it's irreplaceable. Here's the thing: not everyone is equipped to handle a rare soul like you. They may have thought they could do without you. They may have believed they'd find someone better or easier to love. But soon enough, they'll realize that people like you don't come around twice. They'll remember your energy when they sit in a room full of people and still feel alone. They'll miss your peace when they're surrounded by chaos and no one knows how to calm their storm. And they'll wish they had seen you for who you truly were, because now they're left with a haunting realization that they let go of the one person who brought them genuine joy, peace, and stability. But here's what I need you to understand: their loss is not your burden to carry. Their inability to appreciate you does not take away your worth. What they lose when they lose you is a reflection of the power and presence you carried in their life. It's a reminder that you are not ordinary, you are extraordinary. And when you move on, when you rise higher, when you become even better than you were before, you leave them with one truth: they will never find another you. They will never find that peace again. And that's not your failure, that's their regret. Let them sit with it. You keep shining because the world needs your light. You are not replaceable. Let me say that again: you are not replaceable. And I don't mean that in some casual feel-good way. I mean it as an absolute truth that you need to anchor deep in your soul. There is no one on this planet who carries your exact energy, your unique perspective, your kindness, your humor, or your ability to touch hearts in the way that only you can. That's not ego, that's reality. You are a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, and when someone loses you, what they lose is something they will never find again. You see, we live in a world where people are quick to think everyone is replaceable. Oh, I'll find someone else. There's always another friend, another lover, another opportunity. But here's what they don't understand: people like you are rare. There are millions of people in this world, yet none of them will ever replicate the exact essence of you. No one will laugh like you do. No one will love like you do. No one will bring the same peace, support, and unwavering loyalty you gave so effortlessly. You are not a template, you are an original. And when they let you go, they lose access to something irreplaceable. But let me tell you something even more important: when they lose you, they don't just lose the person standing in front of them. They lose the version of you that existed only for them. Because the truth is, the way you love, the way you give, the way you care, it's tailored. It's specific, it's personal. You offer them a version of your heart that no one else will get. And that's what stings the most. They can go out and meet 1,000 other people, but none of them will see them the way you did. None of them will inspire them, calm them, or challenge them in the same way. You brought a piece to their life that can't be bought, copied, or found in someone else. You were the person they could talk to when no one else understood. You were the calm in their chaos, the steady presence in their darkest moments, and the safe place where they could just be. And when you take that away, that absence becomes a weight they will carry for a long time. Because here's the thing about peace, it's not loud, it's not flashy, but when it's gone, the silence is deafening. That's what you brought to their life, a quiet strength, an irreplaceable calm, and they will feel the void long after you've moved on. But I want you to understand this, you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. If someone couldn't see the value of having you in their life, that's their loss, not yours. The right people will recognize your rarity. They won't need reminders or wake-up calls. They'll know from the very start that someone like you doesn't come around twice. But for those who didn't see it, let them learn. Let them look back and realize that they let go of someone extraordinary. And you keep showing up for yourself. You keep becoming the best version of you. Because the beautiful part about being irreplaceable is this: you don't need to convince anyone. Your energy, your essence, your peace will speak for itself. You'll walk into rooms and light them up. You'll touch hearts and change lives just by being who you are. And the people who are meant to be in your life, they'll hold on to you with everything they have, because they'll know people like you don't come around twice. So never shrink yourself. Never let someone's inability to appreciate you make you question your worth. You are not just another option. You are not someone who can be replaced. You are the rarest kind of energy, and anyone who loses you will spend the rest of their life trying to fill the space you once occupied. But by then, you'll be too far ahead, shining brighter than ever, living a life so full of peace and power that their regret will be a story they have to live with, not you. When someone loses you, they will search for you and others, and they will fail every single time. Why? Because the energy you brought to their life was unique. You see, when you've shown up for someone with your love, your loyalty, your compassion, and your peace, you leave a mark that no one else can fill. You set a standard. You gave them something so genuine, so real, that when you're no longer there, they're left with nothing but memories of what they had and an emptiness they can't explain. Here's the truth: most people don't understand your presence as an experience. It's not just about what you say or do, but how you made them feel. The way you listened without judgment, the way you cared without conditions, the way you supported them without asking for anything in return that doesn't come from everyone. That's rare. And when they lose you, they will crave that feeling again. They will look for it in someone else's smile, else's voice, someone else's touch, but it won't feel the same. It can't. Because you are one of one. People often take for granted what feels constant. You might have been the person they could count on, the person who always answered when they called, the one who knew exactly what to say when their world was falling apart. And they got used to that. They thought it would always be there. But when they lose you, they realize something they never expected: you were the glue holding certain parts of their life together. You were the one who brought light into their darkest days, and now, without you, they're left stumbling in the shadows. That's when the searching begins. At first, they'll convince themselves it's no big deal. I'll find someone better, it's just a matter of time. But here's what happens: they meet new people. They have new conversations, they laugh, they bond, but something's missing. The connection doesn't hit as deep. The peace doesn't feel as real. They find themselves comparing every new experience to what they had with you. It's subconscious at first, but soon it becomes undeniable they lost something they can't replace. You see, people like you don't come around every day. You're the kind of person who gives without keeping score. You pour your heart into people because you care, not because you're looking for something in return. You love deeply, you bring joy effortlessly, and you created an environment of peace where others feel seen, heard, and understood. And that, my friend, is irreplaceable. That's why they'll search for you. They'll try to recreate the magic, the comfort, the connection, but they won't find it. Because it wasn't about the actions or the words, it was about you. But here's what I need you to understand: their search is not your concern. Their regret is not your responsibility. When someone loses you, it is no longer your job to worry about how they feel. Your job is to keep moving forward. Your job is to focus on your own peace, your own growth, and your own happiness, because while they're busy searching for you and everyone else, you'll be out there living your best life, becoming even more of the incredible person you were born to be. And that's the most powerful thing you can do. Because while they're realizing that no one else brings the calm, the love, and the light that you did, you'll be miles ahead, thriving. Their loss will teach them a lesson they'll carry forever: that people like you are not replaceable. The world is full of connections, but very few are real, and even fewer are life-changing. You are both. And that's why they'll search for you. That's why they'll never truly find peace. But you'll be free. Free to love yourself, free to create new memories, free to share your light with the people who truly deserve it. You don't need to look back. Let their search be their story, and let your peace be your victory. Focus on your growth, because that's where your power lies. When someone loses you, it's easy to get caught up in the why. Why did they walk away? Why couldn't they see your value? Why weren't you enough for them? But let me tell you something, those questions don't serve you. They only pull you back into a place you've outgrown. You are not meant to dwell in the past or chase someone who doesn't appreciate your worth. Your energy, your focus, and your time are far too valuable to be wasted on people who no longer see the greatness you carry. The moment you shift your focus from them to yourself, you take back your power. Instead of replaying conversations, wondering what you could have done differently, or longing for closure you may never get, put all that energy into your own growth. Make the decision that from this moment forward, you are your greatest investment. You are your top priority. And that's not selfish, that's survival. That's you reclaiming your life, your peace, and your future. Let me paint this picture for you. Imagine someone who let you go thinking they were making the right decision. Maybe they believed they'd find someone better, someone who fit their life more easily. But while they're out there trying to replace you, you're building yourself. You're growing stronger mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You're leveling up, expanding your horizons, and stepping into the person you were always meant to be. They'll look up one day expecting you to be stuck where they left you, and instead they'll see someone unrecognizable, someone thriving, glowing, and unstoppable. Growth is the greatest revenge, not because you're trying to get back at anyone, but because it proves that you never needed them to begin with. You see, your value doesn't decrease when someone fails to see it. Their inability to appreciate you doesn't make you less worthy. All it means is that they were never equipped to meet you at the level you're destined for. And that's okay. Let them go. Let them learn their lessons, and let yourself grow into everything you're capable of becoming. Here's the truth: when you focus on your growth, you unlock parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. You start achieving things you once thought were impossible. You start feeling joy, confidence, and freedom that can't be shaken by anyone else's opinion. You realize that the peace you were trying to give to others was the peace you needed to give to yourself all along. You stop waiting for someone else to fill you up because you've learned how to fill yourself. And let me tell you what happens when you commit to your growth. You start attracting people, opportunities, and experiences that align with the highest version of yourself. You stop settling for relationships that drain you because you know you deserve connections that lift you higher. You stop explaining your worth to people who don't get it because you're too busy walking in your purpose. You start glowing from within, and that glow, it's untouchable. It's magnetic. And the people who once let you go, they'll see it, and they'll realize they didn't just lose a person, they lost an entire future, an entire experience, an entire world that only you could provide. But by then, it won't matter because you'll be too far ahead. You'll have outgrown the version of yourself they knew. And the most beautiful part, you'll look back and realize that their leaving wasn't a loss. It was the very thing that pushed you toward your greatest breakthrough. So hear me when I say this: stop looking back. Stop waiting for an apology, for closure, for someone to change. They made their choice. Now it's time for you to make yours. Choose yourself. Choose your growth. Choose your peace. Because the more you invest in yourself, the more unstoppable you become. And that's how you win, not by proving them wrong, but by proving yourself right. Your journey doesn't end because someone couldn't see your worth. It's only just beginning. Keep growing, keep rising, and let your success speak louder than their regrets. You owe that to yourself. You were their safe space, and when they lost you, they lost more than they could ever understand. Let's get real about this. You were the calm in their storm. You were the person they could call when the weight of the world became too much to carry. You were their sounding board, their encourager, their healer. You brought them peace when they were drowning in chaos. That kind of presence isn't something everyone has, and it isn't something they'll find again easily. Here's the truth most people don't realize until it's too late: peace is priceless. It's one thing to have people around you, but it's another thing to have someone who makes your soul feel at ease. Someone who listens to you with an open heart, who supports you without hesitation, who doesn't try to fix you but just understands that was you. You didn't just show up for them in the good times, you stood strong during their darkest moments. You became their sanctuary. And the moment they lost you, they lost that sanctuary too. But let me tell you what happens next. At first, they might not notice it. They might distract themselves, convincing themselves that everything is fine. But as time goes on, they'll start to feel it. They'll start to miss the calm you brought into their life. You see, when someone gets used to your energy, your steady, reassuring presence, they don't just lose a person when you're gone. They lose their anchor. And without that anchor, they're left adrift. They'll try to find that same comfort in other people, but it won't be the same. It can't be. Because what you offered came from a place of pure authenticity and love. That's what made it powerful, and that's what made it rare. You see, peace is not something you can fake. It's not something you can buy. It's not something you stumble upon randomly. Peace is a gift, and not everyone has the ability to give it. You gave that gift willingly because that's who you are. You're the type of person who brings light into a room, who helps others feel seen and understood, who carries a presence that makes people feel safe. And when you walked away, when they lost access to that, you took that gift with you. They might try to fill the space you left with noise, with distractions, with people who don't hold a candle to what you brought, but it won't work. The void remains. But here's what you need to understand. Their inability to find peace is not your burden to carry. You can't force someone to see your value. You can't make someone appreciate the kind of peace you brought to their life. That's their lesson to learn. Maybe they didn't realize how much you mattered when they had you. Maybe they thought they could replace what you offered. But now they're learning that people like you don't come around every day. And that kind of realization, that's where their regret begins. But let me make one thing clear. You don't owe them your peace anymore. You don't owe them a way back into your life. Your peace is yours to protect, and you get to decide who has access to it. When you've walked away from people who couldn't appreciate you, don't look back. Because the truth is, when someone doesn't know how to value what they had, they'll only return to take more than they give. And you're not here to be drained. You're here to shine. You're here to protect your energy and share your peace with the people who do deserve it. So let them feel the loss. Let them feel the weight of what they let go of. That's not your concern anymore. What matters now is your peace, your growth, your happiness. You brought them calm when they needed it most, but now it's time to bring that same calm to yourself. Focus on building a life so full of peace, so full of purpose that you never have to second guess who belongs in your world. Because the truth is the people who are meant to be in your life will value the peace you bring. They'll protect it. They'll nurture it. And they'll never take it for granted. Let the rest learn their lessons. Let them carry the weight of what they lost, because when you're gone, that peace you once brought becomes a memory, and memories can't hold them up when life gets hard. You were the safe space they'll never find again, and now you get to be that safe space for yourself. That's where your power lies. That's where your freedom begins. Protect your peace. Own your worth. Let them feel the silence, and you keep moving forward. Your love was pure. And they will realize too late that nothing compares to it. Let me break this down for you. When you love, you don't do it halfway. You don't hold back. You don't calculate your efforts or love with conditions. Your love is full, raw, and unconditional. It's the kind of love that can heal wounds, calm storms, and make people believe in the good in the world again. That kind of love, it doesn't come from everyone, and it doesn't come around often. And when someone loses you, they lose access to a kind of love that many people spend their whole lives searching for and never find. Here's the truth most people don't understand until it's too late. Pure love is a gift. It's not something you can force, manipulate, or demand. It's given freely from a heart that cares deeply and genuinely. You brought that love into their life without asking for anything in return. You stood by them, celebrated their victories, held them in their pain, and stayed loyal when the world turned its back on them. That wasn't ordinary. That wasn't common. That was love in its highest form, and when you gave it, you changed their life. But here's where the mistake happens. They didn't know how to cherish it. They thought your love was normal, something that could be found again. Maybe they thought the way you showed up for them, the calls, the support, the presence was replaceable. Maybe they took for granted how safe, seen, and valued you made them feel. But here's what happens when you lose a love like yours. You realize that everything else feels empty by comparison. Let me explain why. Most people don't love with their whole heart. They hold back. They love with conditions, waiting for something in return. They come and go when it's convenient, or their love only exists when life is easy. But you love differently. You stayed consistent. You showed up. Your love wasn't transactional, it was transformational. You weren't just a person in their life, you were the person who made life better. You were the calm in their chaos, the light in their darkness, the warmth they could always come back to. Now, without you, they'll feel the difference. They'll experience what it's like to be loved halfway, to be supported out of convenience instead of true care, and to be surrounded by people who never measure up to the standard you set. That's when it hits them. That's when they look back and realize that the love you gave them was once in a lifetime. They'll search for that feeling in others, but it won't come. Because you can't replace something real with something temporary. Here's what you need to understand: the way you love is your strength, not your weakness. Don't ever let someone's inability to value your love make you feel like you gave too much or were too much you loved the way you did, because that's who you are. You are someone who brings meaning, depth, and authenticity into people's lives. And if they couldn't handle it, if they couldn't appreciate it, that's on them, not you. Their loss is not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of what they were ready for. But here's the most beautiful part: when you give love so pure and powerful, it always comes back to you. Maybe not from the people you gave it to, but from the universe, from the right connections, and from the right people who see your heart and choose to honor it. Because the people who deserve your love will never take it for granted. They'll recognize its rarity, they'll match your energy, show up for you the way you show up for them, and create a bond so strong that you'll never question your place in their life. And the ones who let you go, they'll feel it. The emptiness, the regret, the realization that they had something extraordinary and lost it, that's not your weight to carry. That's their lesson to learn. Let them sit with it. Let them feel the absence of your love. Because when they lose you, they don't just lose a person, they lose the kind of love that makes life brighter, deeper, and more meaningful. But you keep moving forward, you keep loving, but this time you love yourself first. You pour that same energy back into your life, your growth, your happiness, and when the right people come along, you'll see why the wrong ones had to leave. Because you deserve a love that matches yours. You deserve a connection that feels just as pure, just as deep, and just as transformative. So remember this: your love is a gift, and the people who lose it will feel its absence for the rest of their lives. Let that be their story. Your story is about rising, growing, and becoming even more of the incredible person you are. The love you gave will always be a reminder to them of what they had and what they lost, but for you, it's just the beginning of the love you're about to receive. Keep loving, keep shining, and never settle for anything less than what you deserve. Your absence becomes their lesson, because sometimes people only understand value when it's gone. Let me tell you something powerful: people don't always appreciate what they have when it's in front of them. They get comfortable. They assume you'll always be there, always giving, always showing up. They mistake your consistency for permanence, and they confuse your kindness for something ordinary. But here's the truth: you are anything but ordinary. You are extraordinary, and when you walk away, your absence creates a void that cannot be ignored. Here's the reality: when you're in someone's life, you're pouring into them every day, often in ways they don't even realize. Your energy lifts them up. Your words bring them comfort. Your presence gives them peace. You're their safe place, their steady support, the quiet strength they didn't even know they needed. But when you step away, suddenly that safety is gone, that peace is gone. That light is gone. And for the first time, they're forced to face the weight of life without you there to soften it. At first, they may not see it. Maybe they're caught up in ego or distractions. Maybe they think they can replace you, find someone new. Or just keep moving like nothing happened. But life has a funny way of teaching lessons. Time reveals everything. Days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, and somewhere in that silence, it hits them you were irreplaceable. That the energy, love, and peace you brought to their life wasn't something anyone else could give. Because the truth is, no two people are the same. No one has your heart. No one has your voice. No one else shows up in the way you do. And when they look for you and others, they'll come up empty-handed. Because what they're looking for isn't out there. It was you. Your unique energy, your unique spirit, and the way you made them feel can't be replicated. And that's when the lesson lands. That's when they start to understand the depth of what they lost. Here's the key. This is not about revenge. This is not about wishing anyone harm or hoping they suffer. This is about understanding your worth. It's about realizing that your absence is not punishment, it's clarity. Sometimes people need to feel the loss of you to understand the value of you. And that's not your burden to carry. Their regret is not your responsibility. Your job is to keep moving forward. Your job is to keep pouring into yourself, to keep growing, to keep becoming even more powerful, even more radiant, and even more unstoppable. And here's the most beautiful part: that realization doesn't stop you. It doesn't hold you back. It doesn't change your path. If anything, it sets you free. It frees you from people who couldn't see your value. It frees you from places where you weren't appreciated. It allows you to create space for people who do see you, who do honor you, who do recognize that your presence is a gift. So when someone loses you, don't let it shake your confidence. Don't let it make you question your worth. Instead, stand tall in the knowledge that sometimes your absence is the very thing that teaches others the most important lessons. And while they're busy learning what they lost, you'll be out there living your best life. You'll be creating new memories, chasing new dreams, and surrounding yourself with people who see you for who you are and never take it for granted. You see, your power isn't just in what you bring to the table. Your power is also in what happens when you're no longer there. Your absence forces people to grow. It forces people to reflect. It forces people to understand that some things in life can't be replaced no matter how hard they try. And that's not something to feel bad about. That's something to feel empowered by, because when you know your worth, you realize that walking away isn't a loss, it's a declaration. It's you saying, I will not stay where I am not valued. And trust me, when you live like that, when you carry yourself with that kind of confidence and clarity, you don't lose people, you lose those who didn't deserve you. And what they gain? A powerful lesson about the price of taking someone like you for granted. So let them feel it. Let them sit with the silence. Let them learn from the void you left behind. But you, keep shining, keep rising, keep stepping into the incredible person you are. Because while they're learning the hard way, you're moving forward with peace, purpose, and power. And that's how you win. That's how you rise above. They will search for you in others, but they'll never find what you gave. Let me tell you something powerful. When someone has experienced the depth of your presence, the unique way you love, support, and show up in their life, they will spend the rest of their lives searching for that again. And here's the truth: they will never find it. Why? Because what you brought to their life wasn't just a passing moment or an ordinary connection. What you gave was real. What you gave was irreplaceable. And when they lose a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience that kind of connection again. Here's the thing: people are always trying to find something that feels like the last thing they had. They look for the same energy, the same comfort, the same type of love. But the truth is, people like you don't come around often. You have a combination of qualities, a depth of spirit, and a way of showing up in the world that can't be mimicked, can't be replicated, and definitely can't be replaced. When they look for you in others, they'll find imitations, but not the real thing. They'll find fragments, not the full picture. And every time they come up short, it will remind them of what they lost. Let me paint this for you. They may try to fill the void with someone who looks like you, talks like you, maybe even acts like you in certain ways, but deep down they'll know truth. They'll know that the connection they shared with you was different. They'll know that no one else made them feel the way you did. And in those quiet moments when they're left alone with their thoughts, they'll be reminded of your absence the way you made them feel safe, seen, and important. And no matter how hard they try, they'll never find that peace in anyone else. Here's what most people don't understand: you can't replicate energy. The unique energy you brought to their life, the way you impacted their world, is one of a kind. People like you are rare. You give freely, without hesitation. You show up fully. You bring joy, clarity, love, and peace into the lives of those you care about. And when they lose that, they're left with a hole that can't be filled by anyone else. They'll look for the same love, the same support, the same depth of connection, but it won't be there. They'll find distractions, they'll find replacements, but they won't find you. And you know what? That's okay. That's part of their journey. It's part of their growth. They need to feel that loss to understand the value of what they had. But here's where you come in. You don't need to wait for them to realize it. You don't need them to acknowledge your worth, because you already know it. You know that what you gave was more than enough. You know that what you brought to the table was a gift that many people would never even dream of receiving. And that's what matters. So as they search for you and others, as they try to fill the space you left behind, you keep moving forward. You keep growing, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself. You keep pouring your energy into people who deserve it, people who value what you bring to the table, people who are ready to appreciate your worth. And when the time comes, you'll look back and realize that losing you wasn't their biggest loss. It was their biggest lesson. Here's the truth: when you know your worth, you stop chasing validation. You stop waiting for people to recognize your value because you already know that your presence in their life was something they would never find again. And while they search, while they try to find something to fill the void, you'll be out there living a life that's aligned with your purpose. A life full of the right people, the right energy, and the right opportunities. The world needs your unique light, your energy, your love. So don't shrink, don't doubt yourself. The people who lost you will always search for what you gave them, but they'll never find it again. And that's the reality they have to live with. Not you. You have outgrown them. You've moved on. And the most beautiful part, the journey ahead of you is full of limitless possibilities. You'll attract the right people, the right experiences, and the right opportunities that see your value, that appreciate your worth, and that give back to you just as much as you give. So as they search for you and others, you keep growing, keep shining, and keep creating the life you deserve. Because when they realize that no one will ever compare to you, they will have to live with the truth that they had everything they needed and they lost it. And you'll be living proof that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away. Because when you know your worth, you stop chasing anything less than what you deserve. Here's the bottom line: you are a force. You bring something to the table that not everyone can give, and when you walk away, it's not just your absence they're missing, the gift of your presence, the power of your energy, and the depth of your love. And while they might try to move on, trying to fill the hole you left behind, they'll never find anything that compares to what you offered. You are irreplaceable. But listen carefully, this is not your problem. Their piece isn't your responsibility anymore. You have given enough. You've shown up in ways that many people will never understand. But that's not something you need to apologize for. You've been the calm in their storm, the strength when they were weak, the love when they felt lost. And now, as you step forward into the life you deserve, you must remember you are not here to be taken for granted. You are here to shine, to grow, to embrace the incredible person you've always been. The truth is, those who couldn't recognize your worth, those who let you slip away, will feel the absence of you in ways they can't even begin to imagine. And they will live with that regret for the rest of their lives. But that's their journey to walk, not yours. You are moving forward, getting better every day, and attracting the kind of peace, love, and energy that matches your worth. So keep walking, keep rising. Keep being the person you've always been, the person who knows their worth, who isn't afraid to let go of what doesn't serve them, and who understands that peace begins within. You will never find your value in someone else's inability to appreciate it. Your peace, your purpose, your greatness, that's what matters now. And when they realize that no one will ever give them what you did, let that be their lesson. You don't need to go back. You don't need to explain. You just need to keep moving forward, knowing that your best days are ahead. Because the ones who truly deserve you will find you, and they'll never take you for granted. The rest will be left to their regret. But you'll be living your truth, shining brighter than ever before. Keep going. You've got this.